Okay, we're finally back. It's been a while since my last video. Last one we had was them pouring the concrete, and obviously here we can see it's done, and we're getting our first shipment of timber. And pretty cool process to see them unload it. You know, I've never done anything like this before, and all they do is they tilt the bed on that thing and then just start driving forward, and everything's all banded together so it all stays in one piece, which is cool because then it doesn't slide and go all over the place, and you don't have to unload it one piece at a time. So that was pretty neat to see. We jump right in, and unfortunately, we're pretty far into the first floor framing here. Started having some major issues with videoing and time lapse and all that stuff. I had ended up buying some SD cards off eBay that were supposed to be the, class 10 fast whatever, and unfortunately, as it turns out, they're not. Stick them in the GoPro and hit record, and they would go for about a minute or two, and then it would stop and corrupt the file, and I had no idea. All I was doing was taking the files when the camera was full and dumping it onto my computer, and here I am now, obviously later. This has been 2 years ago just about, and we're finally getting back around to it. So I even tried doing, like I said, doing time lapse where it just takes a picture every like 30 seconds. Same thing there. It would take the picture, but when I click on the picture to look at it, it's corrupt. It couldn't actually save it fast enough, or something happened. I don't know, but unfortunately I lost a lot of stuff there, and didn't find out about this till way later on in the process. So anyways, let's take a quick update here. Obviously we've got the first floor framing going. We're currently putting the header above the big garage door, which is a 16-foot wide by 10-foot tall. We already finished, or we got the header up for the 9-foot wide by 10-foot tall. Just got to put the cripple studs up top. And around the rest of the building, I've got 3 service doors for just, regular old walk-through doors, and 2 windows on each wall except for this front or this side wall here that faces the driveway. And everything turned out good. We in the picture here, you can see in the very back a big gap. That's where the door goes. We didn't frame those right away because they have wood that goes all the way down to the concrete, some treated wood for the roof opening. But everything actually went really well. We didn't have any issues putting all this stuff up. We got all had the right tools to make the cuts nice and straight and the same all the way around. So the windows turned out good, and everything else worked out really nicely. So I think right here we're doing some measuring just to get some cuts ready for that header. So I think that we're just doing some of the prep work. Yeah, it looks like it. We're gonna tie the second top plate in there. That way it holds everything in place. We took a bunch of measurements, to make sure we got everything lined up just right. We didn't want the opening too wide or too narrow. Obviously when we put these that big beam up there, that big LVL. And one thing that we did was on the 9-foot door, so the door is 9 feet across, and I believe the beams were 10 feet, so they had about 6 inches on each side. And I looked at the order sheet for the timber, and the specs on that were, a 10-foot beam, and then, there's 2 of them, I guess. They're like 1.75 inches, 1.75 inches, to give you, or no, that's not right. Yeah, that's right, I think. And then there was 3 of them, something like that. Anyways, they worked out to be 5.5 total and I believe there was 3 together. 3 of those. So anyway, back to the big one. I looked at the spec sheet, just to see what size it was and everything, because the lumberyard actually spec'd it based on the load and all that for me. I told them what I wanted, and then they gave me what I needed to build that to code and all that. And it said 17 feet. So here we're actually trying to, I don't know if we take it up the ladder at this point or if we're still getting ready, but we actually get it up there and are trying to set it in place, and it's over like a foot off. So what it ended up happening was, even though they sold me a 17-footer, it turned out to be, I think it was 18, so we got a foot on either side. But which doesn't hurt anything. That's more, I guess, studs to carry the weight above it, which is not a lot of weight. But if there was, it would definitely be able to hold it. And I didn't have an architect or anything draw this up. I drew all the plans, which we saw in a few videos back in that 3D overview and SketchUp. So but on the safe side, better safe than sorry. I always overbuilt everything, and that's what I told them at the lumberyard. That's why I did 2x6 walls, and plus whenever I go to insulate this eventually, I want it to be nice and cozy on the inside. I am going to end up putting AC and heat in there as well, and the more insulation you can get, the more efficient and all that fun stuff that it'll be. So I may speed the next one up, or the rest of this video up here. I'm not really sure exactly. I guess I don't know if we took that up and then we realized that it was too short, but I guess I'll kind of give you what we're going to be working on here. So the lumber that they dropped off at this point was all of the studs for the downstairs that you can see, and the red pile is the plywood, which is going to be the outside sheathing. And had I known a little better and what my timeline and capabilities were, I would have ordered this stuff a little bit in smaller chunks. They also brought, which I guess I moved out of the way, they brought the foam insulation that's got the foil on the one side to help with that radiant heat to direct it back outward. And I didn't need that till way later on. Not that it hurt anything sitting there, but it just kind of got in the way, and would have been better had I ordered it later. But they kind of spec it out in shipments based on what a crew is going to do, and obviously it's just me and my dad, and sometimes my neighbor. He came out and helped me quite a bit. But we're real slow. We're not working on this thing 12 hours a day. It's a few hours here and there that we get to work on it. So they dropped off, basically the stages of order were the downstairs, or the first story, which is this, and it's 12 feet, 12-foot studs, double top plate, and I also have a 5.5-inch stem wall all the way around. And the thought there was, if I ever wanted to spray out the floor and wash it out, I'm not going to be soaking the bottom plate or the wood around the shop. It's not going to hurt anything. I can get out there with a water hose and I could soak the whole thing and not have any issues. Not that it would cause you any issues over the course of many years, but just thought it would be cool. That's kind of how my existing garage was, except it was like a 12-inch stem wall there. And I don't know why they did it that way. I guess they didn't want the garage to be up so high, so they dropped it down a little. But it looks cool. I like the way that it looks. And again, you don't have to worry about water if something spills or leaks or any of that. If you have a water heater and it blows up, you don't want it soaking all the walls and everything like that on the bottom. So that's pretty much what we have on this first batch here. I did go with I think they were 2x10s for the window and door headers. And again, it's probably pretty overkill. I think in a 2x4 house they just typically use a 2x6 for a header. And here we used 3 pieces of 2x10 and then a piece of 1/2-inch foam in between. Technically should have been able to use 2, but the first window we framed and put 2 in there, it was too wide. I guess the wood is probably either curved or swelled a little bit and causes that to not fit just right. So the window's still like that. It's actually that first one way off to the right side, and it actually I need to now still yank that outside or the inside board out, take a layer of foam off, and then put the board back. That way it lines up a little smoother and looks a little nicer. It's not hurting anything, just aesthetics. So that's what that all is. The plywood is actually for the whole building. And again, I probably should have ordered that in 2 batches, because when it rains, you got to keep that stuff dry, or you should. It did take a lot longer to finish it than I anticipated, just due to time and work and all that other life stuff. But we didn't have any problems with it. Everything went really well. So, and I'm gonna try to crank out a whole bunch of these videos here and get back caught up because you know, well, like I said, this was 2 years or almost 2 years ago. So we did this in 2014. That's when this video was taken, and this is probably July. Yeah, because it was super hot, and they had just poured it at the beginning of July. So this is either July or August, getting started. And in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, it's pretty toasty. I remember it was in the hundreds, you know, out there in the sun in the afternoons. So it was pretty hot. And now that I'm recording the audio, it's obviously, well, it is April of 2016, so almost 2 years, and it's taken a while. It's been a couple tasks such as brick that just took forever, and you know, eventually we'll get to all that and show you what all I had to do. But you know, so far the end product looks pretty good. I still have a lot to do on the inside, but the outside's pretty much all done, and it looks pretty good. So we'll finish this video up. I don't know if we must have hit a snag, or this might have been where we realized that it was not wide enough and we're moving stuff around. I can't really tell while I'm watching, but anyways, we do get that up there. I do end up getting the little cripple studs put installed. I think I actually have a kind of a helmet cam video of that. I'll see if I can find it and put that on the end here. But other than that, we did get all that done, and then we move on to the second story, and that was probably one of the hardest days that we've ever done, and you know, that'll come up here on the next part 2, hopefully. But so this video pretty much we didn't make any progress, and I think this is where my memory card filled up. So we'll go back to the pictures. Let's see. So yeah, there it is. We got the header installed. Covered up all the wood because I think yeah, you can see it's pretty cloudy and rainy. The picture's kind of fuzzy. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, you can see we got the headers in. We still haven't built out or framed out the doors in the back yet, or that one in the front right there off to the side. So, but we did get there we go. Now I'm starting to put the cripple studs in. So those are pretty easy. It's kind of a one-person job. You know, you just get up there, measure, cut, and go nail them all in. And that's a picture from around the back side of it, how it all looks. Had it really well braced. We used those big long 2x4s and hit those stakes pretty far in the ground, so didn't have any issues with it moving around on us. And you know, we were pretty safe, didn't have any injuries throughout the whole process, so that's good. So okay, well, that's it for this video. So we'll see the next one here in a little bit. So when we're going to start on the second floor. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.